Did we just find evidence of a Dyson sphere? This is KIC 84628552, known as Tabby's star. It is located in the constellation Cygnus, about 1,470 light-years away from Earth, and scientists think it could be evidence of a civilization harnessing the power of their sun. This star behaves strangely, with its brightness dimming in irregular and dramatic ways. The Kepler telescope has found its brightness dropping by up to 20%. Could this be an advanced alien civilization surrounding Tabby's star with a colossal structure? Other scientists believe it could be clouds of cosmic dust or debris causing the odd dimming.
A group of researchers say they've identified at least 7 stars that might be surrounded by super advanced alien megastructures known as Dyson spheres. Yes, I said alien structures, and I know what you're thinking, but just stay with me here, because the basic idea was this: superior intelligent life might build big structures around their home stars or planets as a way to harness or reuse that energy. A 1960s physicist who came up with this idea, Freeman Dyson, argued that if these structures existed, there'd be so much energy that human scientists on Earth could probably spot it because it would emit a lot of infrared radiation. So in this new study, researchers say they found 7 sources glowing in the infrared, those are their words, but couldn't find an obvious explanation for why these sources are glowing so much, which could mean they're Dyson spheres or something else entirely.
The observable universe is a big place that's been around for more than 13 billion years. Up to 2 trillion galaxies made up of something like 20,000 billion stars surround our home galaxy. In the Milky Way alone, scientists assume there are some 40 billion Earth-like planets in the habitable zone of their stars. When we look at these numbers, it's hard to imagine that there is nobody else out there. It would change our perception of ourselves forever if we found others. Just knowing that this vast place is not dead would shift our perspective outwards and could help us get over our irrelevant quarrels. But before looking for our new best friends or worst enemies, we have a problem to solve. What are we actually looking for? In a universe that big and old, we have to assume that civilizations start millions of years apart from each other and develop in different directions and speeds. So, not only are we looking over distances of dozens to hundreds of thousands of light years, we're looking for a civilization ranging from cavemen to super advanced. So, we need a conceptual framework to enable us to think better thoughts that make us able to search better. Are there universal rules that intelligent species follow? Currently, our civilization sample size is only 1, so we may make incorrect assumptions based solely on ourselves. Still, better than nothing. We know that humans started out with nothing but minds and hands that could build tools. We know that humans are curious, competitive, greedy for resources, and expansionist. The more of these qualities our ancestors had, the more successful they were in the civilization building game. Being one with nature is nice, but it's not the path to irrigation systems or gunpowder or cities. So it's reasonable to assume that aliens able to take over their home planet also have these qualities. And if aliens have to follow the same laws of physics, then there is a measurable metric for progress: energy use. Human progress can be measured very precisely by how much energy we extracted from our environment and how we made it usable to do things. We started with muscles until we learned to control fire. Then we made machines that used kinetic energy from water and wind. As our machines got better and our knowledge of materials expanded, we began to harness the concentrated energy from dead plants we dug up from the ground. As our energy consumption grew exponentially, so did the abilities of our civilization. Between 1800 and 2015, population size had increased 7-fold, while humanity was consuming 25 times more energy. it's likely that this process will continue into the far future. Based on these facts, scientist Nikolai Kardashev developed a method of categorizing civilizations from cave dwellers to gods ruling over galaxies. The Kardashev scale, a method of ranking civilizations by their energy use. The scale has been refined and expanded on over the decades, but in general it puts civilizations into 4 different categories. A Type 1 civilization is able to use the available energy of their home planet. A Type 2 civilization is able to use the available energy of their star and planetary system. A Type 3 civilization is able to use the available energy of their galaxy. A Type 4 civilization is able to use the available energy of multiple galaxies. These levels differ by orders of magnitude. It's like comparing an ant colony to a human metropolitan area. To ants, we are so complex and powerful, we might as well be gods. So to make the scale more useful, we need subcategories. On the lower end of the spectrum, there are Type 0 to Type 1 civilizations. Anything from hunter-gatherers to something we could achieve in the next few hundred years. These might actually be abundant in the Milky Way. But a civilization that is not actively transmitting radio signals into space might be as close as our nearest stellar neighbor, the Alpha Centauri system, and we would have no way of realizing they exist. But even if they transmitted radio signals like we do, it might not be very helpful. On an interstellar scale, humanity is practically invisible. Our signals may extend over an impressive 200 light-years, but this is only a tiny fraction of the Milky Way. And even if someone were listening, after a few light-years our signals decay into noise, impossible to identify as the source of an intelligent species. Today, humanity ranks at about level 0.75. We have altered our planet. We've created huge structures, mined and stripped mountains, removed rainforests and drained swamps. We've created rivers and lakes and changed the composition and temperature of the atmosphere. If progress continues and we don't make Earth uninhabitable, we will become a full Type 1 civilization in the next few hundred years. Any civilization that becomes a Type 1 is bound to look outside because it's likely that it's still curious, competitive, greedy and expansionist. The next reasonable step towards transitioning to Type 2 is trying to alter and mine other planets and bodies. This might start with outposts in space, transition to infrastructure and industries near the home planet, move on to colonies, and end with terraforming other planets by changing their atmosphere, their rotation or position. As a civilization expands and uses more and more stuff and space, its energy consumption scales with them. So at some point, they may embark on the largest project a lower Type 2 civilization can take on, harnessing the energy of their star by building a Dyson swarm. Once this megastructure is finished, energy has become practically unlimited for molding the home system however they see fit. If they are still curious, competitive, greedy and expansionist, and now have complete control over their home system, stellar infrastructure in place, and the energy output of a star, the next frontier moves to other stars light years away. For a Type 2 civilization, the distance to other stars might feel like the distance between Earth and Pluto does to us today. Technically within reach, but only with immense investments in terms of time, ingenuity and resources. This begins their transition towards Type 3. This step is so far beyond us that it becomes hard to imagine what exactly these challenges will look like and how they'll be solved. Will they be able to find a solution to the vast distances and travel times of hundreds or thousands of years? Will they be able to communicate and keep a shared culture and biology between colonies light years apart? Or will they split into separate Type 2 civilizations? Maybe even different species? Are there deadly challenges between the stars? So the closer a species gets to Type 3, the harder it becomes to fathom what it might actually look like. They might discover new physics, may understand and control dark matter and energy, or be able to travel faster than light. We might be unable to grasp their motives, technology and actions. Humans are the ants, trying to understand the galactic metropolitan area. A high Type 2 civilization might already consider humanity too primitive to even talk to. A Type 3 civilization might feel about as like we feel about the bacteria living on the anthill. Maybe they wouldn't even consider us conscious or our survival relevant. We could only pray that they're nice gods. But the scale doesn't necessarily end here. Some scientists suggest there might be Type 4 and Type 5 civilizations whose influence stretches over galaxy clusters or superclusters, structures comprising thousands of galaxies and trillions of stars. Ultimately, there might be a Type Omega civilization, able to manipulate the entire universe and possibly others. Type Omega civilizations might be the actual creators of our universe for reasons beyond our comprehension. Maybe they were just bored. As flawed as this classification may be, this thought experiment is already telling us interesting things. If our ideas about the nature of species that form interstellar civilizations is sort of correct, then we can be pretty sure that there are no civilizations of Type 3 and beyond near the Milky Way. Their influence would in all likelihood be so all-encompassing and their technology so far above our own that we couldn't miss them. The galaxy should flash with their activity in thousands of star systems. We should be able to see or detect their artifacts or movements between different parts of their empire. Even if a Type 3 civilization did exist in the past and died a mysterious death, we should be able to detect some of the remnants of their empire. But when scientists looked, they didn't find remnants of harvested stars, decaying megastructures, or scars of great interstellar wars. So they're very likely not out there and never were. In a sense, this is very sad, but also very reassuring. It leaves the galaxy to us and others similar to us. So the most promising civilizations to look for may be somewhere in the spectrum from Type 1.5 to Type 2.5. They wouldn't be too advanced to understand them and their motives. They may have finished their first megastructures, and they might be in the process of moving stuff between stars and transmitting enormous amounts of information into space by accident or on purpose. They would probably also look to the stars and look for others. Then again, maybe we've got it all wrong. Maybe progress to Type 2 does not mean expanding outwards, and humanity is still too immature to imagine otherwise. For now, all we really know is that we haven't seen anybody yet, but we've only just started looking.
People are thinking that human beings are the only people that exist in the universe. Human beings are the new kids on the block, but we are just an offspring or a cousin of the same type of body type that exists throughout the entire universe. Earth is an abandoned seed colony. That's what we are. We're living on an abandoned seed colony, and we are really trying, scratching in the dark, trying to find our way. And a lot of the DNA and genetics that we have from our past generations, also we have the genetics and DNA from the past generations from these same people, these same beings, every single one of us. So who are the aliens? We all are the aliens, every single one of us. The entity that people are praying to is not the God they think it is. I believe, like I said, that there is a creator of this universe, but the one in the Bible is not it. Not even close. It's actually multiple gods in the Bible. That's why they said, let us create man in our image. It has nothing to do with the Holy Trinity. That didn't even exist at the time that information came out. But they try to twist your arm and make you think that, but it's not. It's these Anunnaki beings, these people that were written about in the Sumerian, cuneiform, and Babylonian and Akkadian epics. It was gods with an S. And if you find the original translation of the word God, you'll find that in the Bible it's mistranslated to be singular when it's actually plural. Everywhere where you see the word God in the Bible, it's gods with an S. And now it's not a capital G, it's a lowercase g, because these people didn't create anything in the universe. All they did was manipulate and create havoc